Peace, peace, peace. Yeah, we back in the building. So, yeah, today's topic, right? Building on fiat. What is fiat? You know what I'm saying? And you know, I want to give a shout out to King L Bay and to Keith Little because I've been studying a lot of their work lately. They've been dropping a lot of jewels, a lot of sauce. You know what I'm saying? Like the king say, he was dropping that sauce. You know what I'm saying? So I've been up on my study as well, and I wanted to share this information. You know, I do. So let's get right into it. Right? What is fiat? Got to understand right now. When we think of the word fiat, right? Most likely we thinking of the term fiat currency, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you know, like here, right? Say we type in the word fiat. Alright, fiat. Now also they say fiat is a automobile, Italian automobile manufacturer. You know, formerly part of Chrysler Automobile. So don't get confused with that. That's not the fiat we're looking for. So scroll down a little something. All right. See, now you got fiat money. So fiat money is a currency, a medium of exchange established as money, often by government regulation. Fiat money does not have intrinsic value and does not. I wish we had to go more into that encyclopedia. But okay, we gonna come back to that. All right, fiat cars. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about the car. Hold on. So you wonder. Okay, here we go. What does fiat mean? Okay, now boom. It says let it be done. The word fiat comes from the Latin, as it is often translated as the decree, it shall be, or let it be done. Now, that's real important because when we understand the science of fiat, they use the term fiat or the science of fiat to regulate and to you know run this whole government, the monetary system, and the religious system, everything. You know what I mean? All right. So, all right. Now here you got the definition of fiat. No, see, they're giving that automobile shit, man. That's not what I'm looking for, man. All right, so okay, here we go. Definition: fiat, a command or act of will that creates something without or as if without further effort. So like you create something without effort or without further effort, meaning like when you create it, it's created and it is, be and it is, as you say, you know what I'm saying? Um, According to the Bible, the world was created by fiat, an authoritative determination, dictate a fiat of consciousness, and authoritative arbitrary order, decree, government by fiat. So now I just wanted to read that, definition so y'all see, I'm not capping. So now I'm gonna get into my notes, you know what I'm saying? So y'all see like, that's definition all of that. So, I ain't capping, I ain't making up shit. So here we go, right? So in my notes, right, I put down, I said, okay, what is fiat? An authoritative command or act of will, a binding command or judgment um, that creates without or as if without further effort. Word is bond. or your word equals your bond. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, and you can apply this to the court too as well. You know what I'm saying? Because when you go into court, you know what I'm saying, they try to get you to swear and all of that, but you don't want to do all that. You know what I mean? It says you got to come in there on some like your authority. Like, basically, to put it simple, your authority is your creator. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? What people will call God, Allah, whatever. You know what I'm saying? The universe. The creator, your creator is your authority. So you're coming in there with that authority. You know what I'm saying? And you have to stand on that as your authority. You know what I mean? So it says an authoritative determination dictated a fiat of conscience. You know what I'm saying? A fiat of conscience. So an authoritative determination dictated a fiat of conscience. So meaning like your consciousness, the fiat of so an authoritative determination dictated fiat of consciousness. No, in other words, your consciousness is fiat, meaning that it's of an authoritative determination that dictates your being or your consciousness, or how you dictate your whole will, and how you express yourself is due to your, your fiat, or your authority. You know what I mean? An arbitrary order, decree, government by fiat. So the government was decreed by fiat. You know what I'm saying? An authoritative decree or order sanctioned royal fiat. You know what I'm saying? I added king's order or edict. And a synonym for fiat is mandate, proposal. You know what I'm saying? A command. You know. So now let's deal with the fiat currency. The fiat currency. Now, when you look on now the term fiat. Now, what makes it fiat? You know what I'm saying? Fiat, we think in the term is like, oh, this is fake. Fiat meaning fake. It's false currency. In a way, you could say that. You know what I'm saying? Because the God that they're talking about is not necessarily the true and living God. You know what I'm saying? They dealing with a mystery God. You know what I'm saying? So it gets tricky when, you know what I'm saying, so now let me just give this disclaimer before I get into this science. Because the science is going to be spoken somewhat religiously, so I don't want anybody to get confused. The black man is God. We are God. There is no ifs, ands, buts about that. So now the science of utilizing the science of fiat is that you're saying that you're coming with that universal authority. You know what I'm saying? The universal authority of Allah, the universe, Allah that is the universe. You know what I'm saying? You're coming with that authority. So you're standing on that ground with that authority, and that is what is your fiat. So now, how did the United States utilize this science of fiat? You know what I mean? For one, you know what I'm saying, they started off with the Bible and all that, but being that my notes is like over here, I'm just deal with the fiat currency real fast. So anyway, fiat currency. On the fiat currency, it says, money says, in God we trust. So understanding that, you know what I'm saying, God we trust, which is authority of God to hold all currency in trust. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, those Federal Reserve notes belongs to the Federal Reserve Bank. And they own that. So the bankers, what they've been doing since 1935, since when they came out with the game Monopoly, you know what I'm saying, with all the fake money, and you learn how to live this fake form of life with fake money. That's the same thing the Federal Reserve Bank did. Is they issued a whole bunch of fake money. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know that whole science. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to try to zoom through that, because that's I don't want to, dwell too much on that. But y'all already know in 1933, or actually 1929, the Great Depression, stock market crash and all of that, leading to this cold country, the economy getting all messed up. 1933, they had a gold seizure where they literally seized people's gold. They took everybody's gold. Everybody was dialing out. They was literally banging on the doors of the banks, like, yo, where's our gold? Where's our gold? You know what I'm saying? So the government had to issue a resolution for all of that madness that was going on. And what was issued was called HJR 192, House Joint Resolution 192. And basically, in a nutshell, what it says, or the most important part of what it says, is that basically the United States government, which is a corporation, and being that they took all the gold from everybody, the United States government is responsible to pay the debts of the American people. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference between the United States citizens and the American people. The American people used to actually own their property, own their land. They used to actually have gold. And when they started issuing this paper money, the money used to say redeemable in gold. But when they had the 1933 gold seizure and they took everybody's gold, the money and the value of the money dropped. And that was basically because they went bankrupt due to the 1929 stock market crash and all of that, Great Depression and all of that. They was already bankrupt. And to drop another jewel on that, O.T. Bay dropped a jewel about how the Great Depression wasn't caused because of all the stock market and all that. Yeah, that was part of it. But the real reason why the economy crashed around that time, because 1928, Noble Drew Ali, Moorish Science Temple of America, you know what I'm saying, he started nationalizing all of these Moors, you know what I'm saying, and they started to reclaim their estates that the government was excheating, you know what I'm saying? Excheating meaning they was basically robbing our estates by the whole birth certificate and making us a entity and securitizing the birth certificate, monetizing it, securitizing it, putting it on the stock market. So, and we already know the first thing on the stock market was physically, literally black people that they made slaves, that they were selling as slaves. We were the first thing on the stock market. Until this day, we still are through the birth certificate. They just made it. They just put it on paper. You know what I'm saying? So they did. They put it on paper. So anyway, 1935, the game Monopoly or Monopoly came out. And the word mono means one, poly means many. So the monopoly is the one that controls many. And who is the one that controls many? The banker. Because the banker owns everything. He owns all the properties. And then he rents out all the properties to everybody. So the thing you want to do and or the best part you want to be in being Monopoly, you want to be the banker. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't be the banker, at least be a owner. You want to buy up all the property. You want to own the property. So actually you are a banker because you have wealth, which is the property. You know what I'm saying? The real estate, that's what gives you the wealth. So what the banks have been doing is they've been, with the whole MERS banks and all of that, dropping that whole science, they've been securitizing the homes. What they did was just like they did with money. When they first started issuing this fake money, what they did was when they took everybody's gold, the people was like, yo, where's our gold? Where's our gold? They started issuing them these certificates, these certificates like, oh, here, this is your money. And if you need something, you could come to the bank and da-da-da-da-da. So it's like kind of like IOU notes, you know what I'm saying? Promissory notes and shit like that. They was giving people these gold certificates or whatever, like saying like the paper is worth this amount in gold, but they never really could cash it in and get gold. So they were still using the fiat currency. You know what I'm saying? The fiat currency. And the reason why they issued the fiat currency is because they had to give a resolution to the House Joint Resolution 192, meaning they had to pay the debts of American people. And also, I'm speaking real fast because it's a lot of information. I'm trying to breeze through it to get back to my bill, but some of the surrounding information will help y'all understand this. So, you got programs like the Department of Social Services, that where people could go and get public assistance. These are public benefits owed to the people. And this is why I tell people all the time, you ain't got to feel ashamed going down to social services if you need food, clothing, or shelter. Because remember, they took all your gold and they've been excheating your estate and robbing your families for generations and generations and generations. So any of these little public benefits they give you, these little food stamps or these little pay your rent or do that, well, that's the least they can do. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, you know what I mean? House Joint Resolution 192, the United States government is responsible to pay the debts of the American people. So the people are owed, if anything, you know what I mean? So anyway, but they use programs like that and all the public benefits, healthcare, Medicaid, Obamacare, whatever, or Biden care, whatever you want to call it. All of these different programs to help the people and blah, 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 blah. And this is their way of paying their debt to the society, or paying their debt or their obligated debt to the American people. So, for example, the reason why I say social service because you know when you go to social services and you go in for say you need rental assistance, right? What's the thing they ask you to do? They ask you to bring an eviction letter. You have to bring to them an eviction letter. Why do they need an eviction letter? Because an eviction letter is evidence of a debt. It's evidence that you are in a bind and that you need assistance, and therefore they are obligated to help you out in this for this assistance. You know what I'm saying? But they need that eviction letter as evidence of a debt so that they can cure the debt. You know what I'm saying? So now you can come to them and say, yo, I've been staying at this person's house for the past 6 months, and I've been waiting for my case to open up and blah blah blah. But when your case open up, they're gonna pay all that back rent to the landlord and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they do or whatever, and you got programs to help out with that and all of that. So anyway, so Monopoly, they issued the fake money. Now dealing with the fake money, fiat currency. It says now, fiat, remember the fiat is the authoritative command, the act of will, the binding command or judgment that creates without further effort. So in other words, when they started putting out this money, people just started using it. They didn't question it. They didn't, they didn't say, yo, is this certificate really backed by gold? You know what I'm saying? Can I really get my gold? Why don't you just give me my gold? Well, they ran that whole banker game on them, and basically people never really got their gold. So we just got used to using this fiat currency. Now, like I say, what makes it fiat? What makes it fiat is that it has an authoritative command, or it has an authority to it. That's why they put on the money, in God we trust. So, and what is a trust? A trust is a document or a form of legal protection of assets. So, in God we trust, meaning they put. So, in other words, they say, in God we trust to protect this currency that we put into circulation. And the people, and they also say things like God bless America, but we're gonna get to that in a minute. So in God we trust, which is authority of God to hold all currency in trust. And then the judges act as trustee/banker to transfer the credits to the beneficiaries. It also states, you know what I'm saying? So like I say, the judge acts as the banker, you know what I'm saying? He's really a banker. And when they say the bench, the word bench is a Latin word meaning bank. You know what I'm saying? So when you say, when you hear in court, when they say maybe approach the bench, they're saying maybe approach the bank. You know what I'm saying? Because the bench is the bank, and the judge is the trustee/banker. You know what I mean? He's handling all the, all the accounts. And his job is to transfer the credits to the beneficiary, or try to tax the beneficiary if you don't know your real position as the beneficiary. They try to put you in position of the trustee, and then try to tax you and make you liable. No, to let them know that you are the beneficiary. Any document with your name on it makes you the principal and also the beneficiary. And being that it's in their custody, they are the fiduciaries to handle whatever fiduciary, things they need to do with it, whatever their capacity is, whatever they need to do with that documentation. Just do what you do and make sure I receive my benefits. You know what I'm saying? So that's just like, for example, when you go down, people go down social service and they be arguing with these people and da 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 da. Just speak to them very calmly and da da da, and let them know, listen, ma'am, you are the caseworker/trustee for my account, and I'm just simply here to receive my benefits. So all the arguing and this, that, and the third, I'm not here for all of that. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I'll sit here all day. You want to give me the weight? Okay, I'll be here all day. I know at the end of the day, I'm walking out of here with my food stamps or whatever I came here for or applied for. You know what I'm saying? But they try to give you all that, because they don't want you to know or realize that they're working for you. You know what I'm saying? Remember this, understand this, right? Oh, okay, let me... Wow, fuck it. We building anyway. It's going to be a long session, but fuck it. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. So, boom. Keith Little dropped last night. He said the trilogy of the trust. You know what I'm saying? He was breaking down about like the first person, second person, and third person. You know what I'm saying? So, the first person is the executor, you know what I'm saying, of the trust. And I put Capitis Maximus because when you put your name, your trust name in all capital letters, that incorporates the name, you know what I mean? But also, you know what I'm saying, states the executor position because it's coming from your executor office. Remember, you created it. It was your decree. It was your fiat. It was your authoritative command, your act of will. So just like also when you draw up your will, you know what I'm saying? King L. Bell, excuse me, pardon yourself, God. King L. Bay be dropping it about the will, you know what I'm saying? How the will is very important. It's one of the most important documents. I used to be like, man, how, man? You know what I'm saying? Because you don't, you know what I'm saying? A will is something you don't, you know what I'm saying, deal with until you dead or whatever, but not really. You got things called living wills, you know what I'm saying? Your last will and testament. And, you know, that's, we're going to get into that too in a minute. The last will and testament, which is real deep. So you got first person, Capitis Maximus, which is executor. Second person, Capitis Media, which is the trustee. And also, it's all in how you sign too. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, or how it's written. You know what I mean? The name of the trust is written in all caps. The trustee signs first letter capital, the rest lowercase. The beneficiary may sign, you know what I'm saying, first letter capital, rest lowercase. But I would prefer that they sign in third person, all, you know, Capitis Minima, all lowercase, as the beneficiary. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like I said, you got first person, Capitis Maxima, which is the executor. Second person, Capitis Media, which is the trustee. Third person, Capitis Minima, which is the beneficiary. So, knowledge this, right? You can create your own living trust and operate in the private or you know, or rather I say, transfer your public accounts into your private trust, you know what I mean? And then operate them in your own private capacity. UCC 2-206 offering acceptance and formation of contract. So when you draw up your paperwork and you send whoever a contract, you're sending them this contract, and their first thing to do is they can offer and they can accept it. If they try to rebut it or whatever, you have a chance to also rebut, you know what I'm saying, their rebuttal. But the fact of the matter is that once you're showing them competence, you're showing them that, like, yo, listen, I am the executor. I'm in control of all this. There's really nothing you can rebut. What are you going to rebut? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so like I'm saying, so when you go down to like social service, right? I'll be dropping it all the time. How, you know, and remember that the social security number is like the access code to your prepaid account, as they say. You know, so some say, you know, your prepaid account, and that's like your unlimited credit. You got unlimited credit with that social security, man. You know. Now you don't have full access to it to get the credit the way you want to. Like, y'all want to do this and want to do that and da da da. But there's many things you can have access to through that social. But you don't necessarily have to use the social. You know what I'm saying? Or you can re-ratify the contract. See, that's what King L. Bay and Keith Little speak about a lot, is re-ratifying the contract. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, when I got my state ID in my righteous name, I also attached what you know, gave with the application. I gave my nationality papers to let them know, you know what I'm saying, X, Y, and Z, da 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 da, what my status is, da 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 da, how I stand, what my law is, what my word is. So now, being that they gave me this ID along with that paperwork, that means that they accepted my ratification of their application. Because let's just say I just went and filled out the application and just got the ID. Okay, yeah, I just did it. But I also gave them my paperwork with it. And then they gave me that ID based upon those what you call a stipulation or adhesion to that contract. You know what I'm saying? That was an additional clause to the Social Security application. See what I'm saying? So now, really, it made it based on my terms, not only what they say in the application, but also what I say in my paperwork. So now, if they didn't say anything, they didn't send me nothing in the mail like, well, we finally actually read your documentation because it was really long and we didn't really want to read it at the time, so we just gave you your ID, you know, whatever. But we actually read it and we don't really agree with this and blah, 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 blah. They ain't send me nothing like that. So that means that, and it's been more than 30, 60, 90 days, man, that's common law acquiescence. That means that they agree. So whatever I said in my paperwork, that is law. And that's how you re-ratify contracts, y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's really that simple. You know what I'm saying? We've been making things a lot, you know, complicated, going to see the courts, talking about this, that, and the third, da, da, da. Believe me, I've been there, done that. You know what I mean? But if you don't got your paperwork right, and if you don't let your paperwork precede you, and you know, come in there properly, then it's not going to be, you know, it's not going, you're not going to get the proper result that you're looking for. So, oh, pardon me, gotta go back. So now dealing with the trust, right? Now I was saying about social service, when you gotta understand, they're operating the trust, they're operating your trust for you on the, because of Social Security and your name itself is a trust, is a public trust. And these people at these places you go to, hospitals, social service, courts, wherever, they're all what you call public servants or public trustees. You know what I'm saying? Now it gets kind of tricky too, because some people were like, "Yo, but they work for private corporations and da 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 da." So damn, so are they private corporations or are they public trustees? They are private corporations operating in the public. See, so the science is that they indemnify themselves or protect themselves legally from liability through by actually being a private entity, but then they come and operate in the public and be like, oh, we're providing services and yada 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 yada. You know, like Kill Gates. He, in his non-for-profit organizations, he's fucking making all these vaccines and going around poisoning people, excuse me, and drugging them up with all these damn vaccines in Africa, Asia, and everywhere, Europe. Now he here in America doing the shit. He been here, you know what I mean? But you know, and but he's made to be seen as a philanthropist. He's a humanitarian. He's helping the world, and fuck out of here, man. Goddamn devil. But anyway. So anyway, what's the first thing they ask you when you go down to social service, right? They actually say, let me get your social security number so I can open up your account. You ever heard those words? I'm pretty sure you have. If you've been to social service before. They'd be like, yeah, let me get your social security number so I can open up your account. Boom. So wow, when you think about it, wow. So my social security number opens up an account. Wow, that's deep. Okay, and then they open up the account. They be like, okay, oh wow, okay, your case is active. Yeah, da 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 da. So after, you know, because you know, after a certain amount of time, you get like your cash grant and all of that and blah blah blah. You know how they got their things set up, and that's according to their policies and so forth and da 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 da. But also, you know how to be handing out that did you know paper? Read that shit, y'all. Did you know that they be helping you out with your, you know, if you've been on a job for a certain amount of time, they help you get a car. You know, they help you out with this and help you out with that and da da da. Like, read that shit, man. It's some helpful shit on there. But motherfucker just take that paper and just throw that shit in the ground like, oh, nigga, I got my food stamps, I got my rent paid, I'm good. Nah, man, read that paper, man, because there's some other shit you can get too. But anyway, you know, if you don't read, you don't know. So anyway, they say, let me get your social security number so I can open up your account. Boom, they open up the account. Da 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 da. Now, when you hand in your application, right? You hand in your application. Now, understand, when you hand in that application, you are actually now the executor of a trust. When you apply for public assistance, you're actually initiating a trust, a public trust. You know what I'm saying? And you are actually the principal or the executor initiating that trust, because if not, if you didn't apply, then they just be, you know, whatever, you know. But now, being that you came and applied and you put your information on there, which is unique because it pertains to only you. You know what I'm saying? Only you can say that this information is valid and according to, yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's my information. You know what I mean? So it's unique. And it's also fiat as well, you know what I'm saying? You know, if you want to go into that aspect of it too, it's also fiat, you know, so if you putting it down like that. And when you sign and when you autograph your calling, not your name, your calling, because it's a divine calling, you know what I'm saying? Remember, you come from a divine authority. Your fiat is divine authority. As back in the days, they used to say divine right, you know what I'm saying? Like the kings had divine right, they ruled by divine right. That's what fiat is, and that's how they're using it in their system. So anyway, they open up the account. Now, the caseworker, or what they call a caseworker, is actually the trustee. He or she is acting as a trustee, which is simply going to manage your account, and they're going to let you know what all your benefits are. They're going to tell you, oh, okay, you're going to get this much in food stamps. We're going to pay this much for your rent. Well, being that you're working, we did the math. We measured out your earnings. We could give you this much in medical and and they tell you all your benefits. And then they give you, for your food stamps and your medical, they give you what's called a benefit card. Root word of beneficiary is benefit. So when you got that benefit card, that shows and proves that you are the beneficiary. The beneficiary of a public trust. That public trust is what they call public assistance. You know what I'm saying? But that public assistance is actually a public trust in which you are the initiator of. They are the trustee, the public trustee, and then you are the beneficiary. So yeah, so that's a sign. So and that's how they deal and giving people certain benefits through HJR 192, which is the United States obligation to pay the debts of the American people. Okay, now going back to fiat, right? So all right, fiat, all right. Now we broke down the "In God We Trust." That's how they put their so-called godly authority on their money. You know what I'm saying? Which makes it fiat currency, a currency coming from an authoritative command that has an authoritative command or an act of will to it. You know what I'm saying? By them putting "On God We Trust" with it. And now also, it also states. This note, in the small print on the dollar bill, it also states this note says this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. See, there you go with that public and private right there. So that lets you understand that there's a public and a private side of things. What that say across there? Federal Reserve notes. These are Federal Reserve notes, the United States of America. You know what I'm saying? Washington, D.C., all of that shit. So, Federal Reserve notes. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. What is tender? Tender is a form of payment. Form of payment. So when it also goes into say that that fiat is a fixed form, a part of stuff, they gave like an analogy of using fiat in a sentence. They said a fixed form of words, created by fiat, or a fixed form of words and fiat. So meaning like, the court system, they use a whole fixed form of words. And understand, where does their wording come from? Their wording comes from the very Bible. You know what I'm saying? And what do? They get you to come in there and they say, they get you to swear on the Bible, right? You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to get into why they do that in a minute. But Pete, right? So it says, this is a legal form. So now, this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. Thus, is fixed form of payment. It's a fixed form of payment. How is it? Why is it a fixed form of payment? Because remember, HJR 192. You know what I'm saying? They was obligated to pay the debts of the American people. So what did the bankers do? The bankers, they gave the people this false currency, for those that they took gold, that already had money and gold or whatever, wealth and all of that, whose houses they seized or gold they seized, they gave them, their weight in gold, so to speak, or they gave them their certificates. So they were somewhat accounted for. But the average people who just didn't have no money and couldn't even use gold anymore because the gold market had dropped, they had to get loans from the banks. Like say they had a farm or whatever, and they want to keep and sustain their farm or get their farm going. They had to go get a loan from the bank. What did the bank do? The same thing they do now. They gave them a loan with interest. But being that this is the beginning of the fiat currency going into circulation, the only money that's out there is the money that's coming directly from the bank. So remember, you can't, at this time you couldn't really borrow from Peter to pay Paul, but that's what the bank does all day. But at this time, you just had to get money from the bank, and then they gave you that money with interest. So say, for example, they gave you $10,000 at a 10% interest. So now you had to pay back $11,000. So now, if you, let's say if you didn't do good with that $10,000, you didn't make it multiply, and you didn't make your profits and da da da, and you couldn't pay back the money, then basically the bank said, "Oh man, you couldn't make up the money. All right, well, at this time they wasn't really harsh because they was doing this purposely. They was creating a perpetual debt throughout the whole nation with the people. They was doing this purposely. They were purposely putting the people in debt. So what they did was they said, okay, oh, you couldn't make up the money. You know what? We'll give you another loan. We'll give you some more money at more interest. So now you're even further in debt. It don't matter. It means nothing to the bank because the bank, they just print up the money. You know what I'm saying? They just print it up out of thin air. Just print up some money. Here you go. Take this money. It's nothing to them. You know what I'm saying? So they did this to, like I say, create a saturated economy of debt. You know what I'm saying? Rather, I say a saturated, just nation of debt, people in debt, putting everybody in debt. And then also, this is how they started to put liens on people's homes, because when they couldn't pay it, or put a lien on your farm. You know what I'm saying? They'll put a lien on your farm or put a lien on your home. And now now the bank owns your property because you couldn't pay back the money. So that was their way of putting liens on people. You know what I'm saying? A lien, they lien on you. You know what I'm saying? They put a lien on your property. You know what I mean? And also, this is the same thing happening with gentrification in the black community. We talk about, we blaming white people. Oh, well, white people, they come to our community, da, da, da. But what we need to be blaming is the black church. Why? Why is the black church need to be blamed? Because all the money that the black churches get from the black community, they take that money and put it into white banks. They deposit the money in the white banks. So the white people are gaining interest. The white bankers are gaining interest off of all the money coming from the black community that we so faithfully give to the church. See what I'm saying? So we don't have our own banks, so we never get to gain off of the interest of our own money. So our money doesn't multiply or gain any interest for us. So we never gain in wealth. We just keep spending our money and staying poor. Spending our money and staying poor. Spending our money and staying poor. You see what I'm saying? So we need all these black churches that got all this money from the black community, they should have been opening up black banks. You know what I'm saying? In fact, the black community should be demanding that of the black churches. So that way, now let me finish the point of gentrification. And I got the jewel from Dr. Umar Johnson, so he brought this to my attention. You know what I mean? That, you know what I'm saying, once they take the money from the black church and they put it into the white banks, the white bankers gain off the interest, and then they come back and they buy up all the properties in the black community. And then they move white people in the properties. So now when you see white people moving in your community, you're like, yo, this is gentrification. They always trying to move into our community and take over and da 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 da. Blame your goddamn preacher. Blame Reverend Ham Hawk and Pastor Pork Chop. You know what I'm saying? Blame them niggas, because they the ones that then sold the community out, took all this damn money. They could have built schools. They could have built businesses. They could have built all of that shit for the black community. But no, they just became a mega church and bought a big ass jet and a big ass mansion for their own family. You know what I'm saying? So this is what took place. You know what I mean? So, Anyway, let me get back to the notes. See, I knew it was going to be long, y'all, because, it's just so much, and it never, it's never a little what's over a lot. But anyway, so your word is also your bond. You know what I'm saying? And a bond is evidence of a debt, because what you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. Ain't that what they tell you when they arrest you and shit? They be like, yo, what you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. So your word is your bond. You know what I'm saying? And also when you get before the judge, you're gonna have to say something to get up out of that situation. Like, yo, you're gonna have to say something to that judge. Like, you know what I mean? What you gonna say? You know what I mean? Like, they want to hear your side of the story. What you gonna say? You know what I mean? Like, how you gonna explain the situation? And remember, your word is your bond, and what you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. So, and see, and also too, now, that's really deep. Because remember, the feet, now, we gonna get back to All right, yeah. So, all right, now the fiat, they created the U.S. government. You know what I'm saying? Is the Articles of Confederation. I put the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, Declaration of Independence. You know what I mean? Because you know how in the Constitution and more so the Declaration of Independence, how they be like, we declare all these rights to be evident before God and blah 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 and all men are created equal in the sight of God and before God and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So they try to put all this God stuff in there as if like their authority comes from their God. So that's their form of fiat. You understand what I'm saying? That's what makes this government fiat. This is a fiat government. You know what I'm saying? A government that's supposed to be based on a godly authority. But like we say, we know that a lot of the people that funded this country is Freemasons. You know what I'm saying? And we know that Freemasons, their God is Lucifer. They worship Lucifer. So it's not really the God you thinking it is. You know what I'm saying? It's something else. But anyway, so like I say, don't get caught up in the confusion. Know the difference. You know what I'm saying? But understand that you can use this language to in your contracts and how you organize your fiat government and your fiat constitution, your even your fiat currency if you want to among your own nation and people and all of that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? You can do all of that. You know what I'm saying? Um, so And the science is that so understand that, right? So that was their fiat. That's how they created this government. You know what I'm saying? The Articles of Confederation, the Constitution, um, Declaration of Independence, like I say, when they put all that, we declare these rights to be evidence in the sight of God, all men created equal in God, and da 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 da, and God we trust, and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So that's their fiat, their authoritative command. You know what I'm saying? And we know who has the highest authority. God, you know what I'm saying? So called. You know what I'm saying? God has the highest authority. So, like I say, and now, in the true sense, in the real mind, we know that God is a universal energy, universal power, and not something spooky floating around in the sky. So we are, like I say, we standing on that force with that energy, with that understanding, and we have to declare that in our documentation. So this will be our fiat. So now Keith Little also broke down. He says you have to overwrite their fiat with your fiat. You know what I'm saying? Thus, when you creating all your documents, at the end of your documents, you basically state, or somewhere or beginning, the middle, wherever, somewhere within your documentation, you're gonna state that this is your form of fiat. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And also it said, yeah, it is a form of divine right. Like, like the kings back in the day, they used to say they used to rule by divine right. You know what I mean? So you're gonna put in your documentation that this is your form of fiat. You know what I mean? And it's validated because you got validation, certification, and or validation, clarification, and certification. You know what I'm saying? Three important elements. It's and authentication too. You know what I'm saying? But okay, now it says it's valid. It's validated by your word of fiat. You know what I mean? So all your documentation is valid. What makes it valid? Because you say it's valid. You know what I'm saying? Because you say in your godly authority, you say it's valid. And that's, like I say, that's the authority that you got to speak from. You got to like etch that in your brain, in your mind, you know what I'm saying, your soul, in your heart. That's where you're speaking from. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't be in your paperwork or even before these people, half-assing it, man. They gonna see like, nigga, you ain't real. You know what I'm saying? Like that's because remember, they practicing the ancient laws of Kemet as well. They practicing the judgment hall of Ma'at. You know what I'm saying? They trying to weigh your heart to the feather. They got what's called in law. They got what's called mens rea. Mens rea is like your intent. You know what I'm saying? They try to like prove like what was your intent. You know what I'm saying? Like they be like, oh yo, I came home, I caught my wife in the bed with another man. Oh, what was going on? I was in a rage and I went insane, temporarily insane or whatever how they say. You know what I'm saying? They can be like, yo, I was temporarily insane. And like, what was the intent? Or what was the temporary insanity? You know what I'm saying? They plead in temporary insanity and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Or let me give a better example. Um, let's say you was you was walking through a dark street or something, dark alley one night, whatever. You seen a man, he was trying to rob a lady or rape a lady or some shit, and you came in, on some cap to save her. You know what I'm saying? And you beat up the dude and shit, you fucked the nigga up or whatever. Police might get called, whatever. You got arrested and shit. You know what I'm saying? And now the judge's gonna be like, well, what happened? They gonna know. They want to know the mens rea. They want to know what was the intent. You'll be like, yo, listen, Your Honor, I didn't mean to harm this individual, but I seen him. I heard the lady screaming. It seems like she was in trouble. You know what I mean? My natural intent, something just in me, my conscience just told me to go and help the lady. You know what I'm saying? Within the process of helping her, the man, he tried to resist and struggle with me. I had to put the beats to him. You know what I'm saying? And da-da-da. And, I'm sorry that happened, but that's why we here right now. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna look at the intent of why you did that more so, and then more so than looking at you like a villain, like, oh, he harmed this man and da da da. They're gonna look at it like, yo, he saved this woman from being harmed. So you know what I'm saying, the judge is going, that's going to look more lightly on you or better in your behalf. You know what I'm saying, due to the intent. You know what I'm saying, the mens rea. So like I say, they dealing with the judgment hall of Ma'at as well. They trying to wear your heart to the feather as well. You know what I'm saying, they copying our ancient practices as well. So know that as well. You know what I mean. But anyway, so like I say, all your documentation is validated by your word. It's certified by attestation. And another building that this build is real long. I'm gonna stop this one. I'm gonna go into another build, but on my another build, I'm gonna build about attestation. Attestation is real important because attestation is when basically when you do a certification process. Pardon me. Um, Attestation is basically when you and a couple other people or whatever witness each other's signature, and y'all all bear witness that you attest to each other's signature, or autograph, rather say, you acknowledge each other's autographs, basically is what attestation is. And if you got two or more, three or more people acknowledging, then that's just as good as a notary. That holds just as much weight as a notary. You know what I mean? Because if need be, if they need to call these two or three people that witness your autograph into court and be like, yo, is this your autograph? Did you bear witness to this writing and document and da da da? Did you sign this on the date of da da da? They be like, yeah, on the yeah, and so forth. But the science is that that's why it's also important about attestation, because if you're dealing with attestation, most likely you won't necessarily have to deal with having to bring somebody into court and prove that their autograph was real on your documentation, or you didn't just make it up, or da da da, because that's dealing with attestation, meaning the document is certified on own behalf by live wet ink signatures, which they have to acknowledge. But now the science is that, my small little print, my little notes I put, when you do a certification process, that transfers the fiat to their fiat, making it a commercial instrument, making a document a commercial instrument. Like when you go down to the clerk or whatever, and you say, "Y'all, I want to certify this document. I want to get a certified copy of the document." They're gonna take your original, keep your original, and then give you back, a copy, a certified copy, as they say. But actually what they're doing with your original is taking your original with your wet ink signature, and they're making it into a commercial instrument. They're monetizing it so they can later on securitize it. They're making it into a negotiable instrument. You know what I'm saying? Because being that it got your autograph on it, it's now a negotiable instrument that they're gonna securitize, and like Keith was breaking down, they're gonna put it with a whole bunch of other papers and make this big old bond and whatever accounts and da da da, all the other shit that they do. You know what I'm saying? That's what they do. They take all your documentation and they try to commercialize it. So now the reason why, and this is why it's, and now remember when it said that. Let me look up the term intrinsic value. Because remember when it says that the currency has no intrinsic value? What does intrinsic value mean? Because if it means what I think it means, then it's going to help me go where I'm going with my thought. Intrinsic value. Intrinsic value is a measure of what an asset is worth. Okay. the measure, this measure is, excuse me, not even, intrinsic value is a measure of what an asset is worth. This measure is arrived at by means of an objective calculation or a complex financial model rather than using the current trading market price of that asset. So so it says, oh, see, intrinsic value is the measure of what an asset is worth. So it said that fiat currency has no intrinsic value. Intrinsic value is the measure of what an asset is worth. So that means that it ain't worth shit. It ain't worth nothing. This money ain't worth nothing. That's why I say it's monopoly money. You know what I'm saying? That's what I right. That's what it was. That definition was right with my thought. Right. Intrinsic value. It has no intrinsic value. You know what I mean? Which means the measure of what an asset is worth. So in other words, there's no measure to the worth of the dollar bill. We look at it like, yo, like you walking down the street or something, and you be like, oh shit, y'all just found a dollar, yo. You get all happy and shit, like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, I just found, you found $100 bill, you get mad happy, like, oh shit, I just found $100 bill. Damn, that was a blessing. You know what I'm saying? And think about it too, right? See how I just said that? You automatically start to associate God when you find some money. You be like, damn, God bless, that was a blessing. God bless me. You know what I'm saying? Because what the money say? In God we trust, right? See, so now the value that you give to this dollar is not necessarily an intrinsic value or like a worth, like it's worth financial worth or wealth, but you be like, or even in the church, see, like, that's how deep it is. See how they manipulate this? Even in the church, they got people giving all their money, but yet praying for more money. Man, keep the money you got and get some more. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck, man? They got people, that's some BS. Like, they in there, with that prosperity preaching. Oh, if you sow a seed of $100 today, God is going to bless you 10 times fold. That's right. You're going to get your blessing. You're going to get your... Man, see, this is the lie and the manipulation. You see what I'm saying? Because the money has no intrinsic value, but being that it says on it, oh, what does that say? In God we trust. So we trust in God that if we sow this seed in the church of $100, I trust that God is gonna bless me back tenfold. See, because I believe in the Lord. I believe in God, and God is gonna bless me back. You know what I'm saying? Now, more so, I would have taken that money and go and feed the hungry or go and do something. You see somebody out that needs something physically right there on the spot in real time, go and do that. That's then you know that it actually went to where it actually needed to go to. Not to the goddamn white bank after the preacher store it for, in his bank account, which is at a white bank, and he ain't even getting no interest off the money. You know what I'm saying? But anyway. So yeah. So yeah, man. You see how deep it is, though, man. This shit is deep, though. You know what I'm saying? When Keith Little was breaking this down, I was like, wow. I was up all night last night, man, taking these notes and breaking this shit down, man. This shit is deep. So like I said, so now you don't want to certify. You want to attest. You want to certify your documents by your own attestation. You don't want to go down there to the clerk or whatever and get the certified copy, because knowledge. The courts have to acknowledge a notarized affidavit and like I say, an attestated affidavit. And more so than an affidavit, like King Elbow said, we shouldn't even use affidavits, because affidavits, by law, I think affidavits have to be notarized, and that's another trick that they use too. That's why I'm talking about attestation, meaning you want to have a couple of people autograph and seal, put their thumbprint seal. You know what I'm saying? Like after they sign, put their thumbprint seal on it. Because when you notarize a document, remember the document says, oh, when you notarize something, you're signing under penalty of perjury. Now, when you sign under penalty of perjury, that places you under penalty of perjury, which is a state law. And that right there, see, like I say, they try to transfer your fiat. When you certify a document, that transfers the fiat from the godly authority that you spoke of in your documentation and they turn it into a corporate. That's why I say on the money, man. They put it right there on the money. In God we trust. They turned God into a corporation. How did they do that? They do it to you with your birth certificate. Soon as you were born from your mother's womb, soon as God is born from the gates of heaven, you come out your mother's womb, God is born. They slap that birth certificate on you. They put the ink on your baby's foot. They put his print on that paper. You know what I'm saying? Now, the lady at the hospital, man, I lost it. I don't know what I did with it, man. But she gave me that original thing. You know how they put the baby's thing with her? She gave me that in the hospital with my first son when I was dead. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, but at the time I didn't really realize the importance of it, man. She blessed me. She didn't have to give me that. Most times they don't give you that. But if I would have kept that and remembered to put it in a safe place, that was the official first record of my child's birth. You know what I'm saying? That right there has more validity than the birth certificate. And I could have used that to challenge the birth certificate. You know what I'm saying? Word is bomb, man. You know what I'm saying? Had I known, like, if I was up on my legal game the way I am now, man, I would have known. I'm like, yo, I would have freaking put that shit in on lock and kept it. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, that would have been a more original record. So now, if anybody listen or whatever, if you come to that situation and you get the thing to print out from the doctor, keep that, because that is an original record which hasn't been monetized. It hasn't been securitized. They haven't made it into a corporation yet. And you could use that as the real certificate of live birth. You know what I'm saying? To show them, like, yo, I was right there when my child was born. This is the record. Look, my child's footprint right here. Boom, boom, boom. So whatever corporate stuff y'all got going on, this right here defeats all of that. Because this is living live documentation with like I said, with the child's footprint. The reason why they put the footprint, because that's a unique print, something that comes from only that person, which identifies that person. Your fingerprints, your footprints, that's unique to you. Nobody in the universe has your fingerprints or footprint. So that's what makes it unique to you. You know what I mean? So that's an evidence of live birth right there. You know what I mean? So, I made a horrible mistake of misplacing that document, man. You know what I mean? Horrible mistake. But anyway, but anybody in the future, if you get that, or in the future, if I have more kids, whatever, I'm definitely gonna keep that documentation, because now I know the importance of it. So, like I was saying, so now, all right, now, the Bible, right? So, okay, so scooting over here. So when it says an authoritative determination dictated fiat dictated a fiat of conscience. So in other words, like it gave you an authoritative mind of consciousness, like a godly consciousness. In the Holy Quran it says, like in the preface of the Quran, it says, this is the book for the God consciousness of mankind, or something like that. I don't use that exact term. It says this is the book for the God consciousness. The God consciousness. So God is a consciousness. Understand that. God is mental. All is mental. The universe is mental. You know what I mean? So now when it says, I said the Bible, right? The Bible is, the so-called word of God, right? It's an authoritative word of God. You know what I'm saying? Depending upon how you use it. It's an authoritative word of God. Now, that was just too. King Albert was breaking down how America is a so-called Christian nation. But there's documentation too that even Obama showed and shit how, like, really this nation was actually founded on Islam. It's actually a Muslim nation. It's really founded on Islam. And because we know too that, George Washington and the boys, they were all, like I say, Freemasons, and they studied under as Freemasons or Muslim sons. You know what I'm saying? They studied under the tutelage of black Masons, you know what I'm saying? The original Masons. So now when you learn about the man John Hanson, right? John Hanson was an original Moor, he was a Moor, a Muslim, and a Mason, you know what I'm saying? John Hanson is the man. He was one of the writers of the Articles of Confederation, and the Articles of Confederation is the documents that they went according to before the U.S. Constitution. And now, when you hear that terminology about George Washington chopped down the cherry tree, when they say that's a metaphor, that's a symbolic language to say that when they say George Washington chopped down the cherry tree, that means that after he was inaugurated into office by John Hanson, you know what I'm saying, through their, secret, however they do their, whatever shit, their little rituals and, Masonic shit or whatever, da da da. After he was inaugurated into office, he then went and he then took down the Moorish flag that was outside of the White House at the time. The Moorish flag is a red flag with the green star, symbolic of a cherry tree. He took down the Moorish flag and then he put up the American rag, which had the 13 stars at the time, representing the 13 colonies at the time. So the expression that George Washington chopped down the cherry tree, that means that he basically wow, see how deep it is. He changed the fiat of this nation. He changed the fiat because the fiat was coming from God himself, the original black man, the Moors, the original black Masons that were initiating these Muslim sons into their secret orders and so forth and so forth. But like they always do, once you give these devils an inch, they're going to take a mile. So what he did was he changed the fiat by him taking down the Moorish flag, chopping down the cherry tree, so to speak, taking down the Moorish flag and then putting up the American rag. He changed the fiat from a divine constitution or a divine authority, and he changed it into a corporate trust known as the Constitution. And the declaration to the trust, and the declaration of trust to that Constitution is the Declaration of Independence. And then they try to say, according to their God, they blah, 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 and all this is evident, and all men are created equal, and blah, 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 and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But he changed the fiat. He changed the godly authority of the nation into his own corporate authority through the trust of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. Woo! Goddamn. I'm going to send this video to King L. Bay because I want him to see how I expound. I mean, he's not saying he don't know these things, but I want him to see, and Keith Little, I want him to see how I expounded on this, man. And thank them for putting me onto this as well, but because they allowed me to see so much more as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, but that's what he did though, man. Word is bond. You know what I'm saying? So that's the same thing they do with your documentation. They change the fiat. They change the authoritative command of your, or the authoritative will of your documentation by placing it, by telling you to go get it notarized and place you under penalty of perjury. You know what I'm saying? So I said the Bible is authoritative word of God. It is the fixed form of words used by the judicial system via canon law or ecclesiastic law. That's their fiat. Their canon law and ecclesiastic law is the law pertaining to the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Biblical law. Canon law is biblical law. Ecclesiastic law is biblical law. So they have law based upon the Bible. And the words that they use in the court, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing, so help you God, and all these different terminology they use in the court is biblical language, but they also have this language coded into their own coded language that they have their own attestation to. They have all their members of their bar association or whoever it may be sign off on this documentation, and then they all use it as a coded form of language. So now when you come into court just speaking regular old English, you might be using terms that make sense to you, but to them it's a whole nother language. It's a whole nother language. And they're going to use that shit against you. Remember, anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. So you better know their language, you know what I'm saying? And really the whole science is that, and also too, that's what now, when you get into like David Miller, you know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to David Wynn-Miller. He was dealing with syntax, you know what I'm saying? And that's another high science, you know what I'm saying? He was dealing with syntax and how the writing of the documentation, how it's written in certain word formats that it has to fit into. And if it's not fitting its criteria, then it's not syntactically correct. You know what I'm saying? Like word of bond. And even if you don't even really understand syntax or whatever, like fully, because like it's a lot of shit. And actually if you keep listening to it, you start to understand it. The syntax is basically like reorganizing the structure of how things are said or worded. Like for example, they'll say the water is under the bridge, but you will say the bridge is over the water. You know what I'm saying? The same thing, but it's written in a different way. You see what I'm saying? So that's how they change the syntax of the writing. You know what I mean? So now when you say something in a certain way, they'll say something to you that sounds the same thing, but they'll say it in a different way, which fits their way of language. And you're like, man, that's what I just said. And they be like, nigga, no, it ain't. You know what I'm saying? Like you thinking what you saying, and you just keep on talking. You know what I'm saying? And we gonna say what we say, and it's gonna fit our language. And even though the judge is acting like he's not biased, nigga, you speaking that secret language with the attorney. So whoever the attorney is against me, you working with him. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all speaking the same language. I'm not speaking y'all language. So what you have to do with your documentation is write in your, and this jewel was from King L Bay. You know, I give credit to my sources. I don't be stealing people information like I'm the man. Nah, I give credit to my sources. So King L Bay, he dropped a jewel. He said, you got to take the documentation and state that all the wording in this documentation has been transliterated, not translated, transliterated into plain English, so that all parties who are joined to this contract can fully and completely understand beyond a shadow of a doubt. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, we ain't using no tricky language. We ain't using no legalese. You know what I'm saying? We ain't using none of that tricky stuff they try to trick you up with their own word system. So these are the things. So if you have certain documents written, trust, wills, whatever, you might want to go back and revise your documentation based upon these jewels I'm giving you. You know what I'm saying? This is why, that's why I'm doing it. I know I got a lot of revising to do. Y'all see, man, this computer, man, I be on this computer for many hours. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and revising this information, you got to revise your documentation to. I'm not saying you have to. If you want to, this is real powerful information right here. If you want to apply this to your documentation, it'll put it in a whole nother jurisdiction. You know what I'm saying? You'll be coming from a whole nother stance. You'll have a whole new standing. You know what I mean? Which is actually going to trump their standing, because knowledge, right? I'm about to get into it. How they dealing with the fake God, but you dealing with the real God. They want to deal with the paper you, but with the so-called straw man. But you coming in there as the real, true, and living, in the flesh. And that's another jewel. Keith Little dropped about probate. And that's real deep too, about probate, how, and going back to also why King L Bay says the will is one of the most important documents. And like I say, there's a such thing as a living will. You know what I mean? And in that living will, like I was thinking like, well, when your trust, you can have what's called a pour over will in your trust. Excuse me. But also you can have a reference to your trust in your will. And you could also have reference, because you're not going to write out the whole trust in your will or the whole constitution in your will, but you're going to give reference. Keith Little, okay, he responded back, but yeah. So, oh yeah, and you hear these names I'm breaking out there. If y'all on this wave of this information that I'm dropping, if y'all on this time right here, check out King L Bay and Keith Little. Check out their pages, man, because they dropping jewels upon jewels upon jewels upon jewels. You know what I'm saying? And word is bond. So, all right. So the Bible, right? So peep the game, right? Peep the game. Now, this is how they using the Bible and all of that to deal with their system. So now I showed you how they created the monetary system by way of fiat. You know what I'm saying? In God we trust. And by stating that it's legal tender for all debts, public and private. Legal tender. Tender is a form of payment. So when you say fiat currency, you think of something being like false or whatever, but it's more so a form of payment that has a godly authority to it. So now you respect it as if like it has more validity, but really it has, like it says, it has no intrinsic value. It has no worth. You know what I'm saying? This is monopoly money. This is fake money, paper money. You know what I'm saying? It's monopoly money. That's what it is. And we running around here playing the so-called game of life with this monopoly money. And people so caught up on it, they robbing, stealing, and killing for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, why? You know what I'm saying? Why? Don't you understand that the real power is in you? The real power comes from you. As they always say, money don't make a man. Man makes the money. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you got to know. Money does not make a man. Man makes the money. You know what I'm saying? So fuck out of here with all that trying to measure a man by how much money he has, or or if he don't have money, or if he has a lot of money, then and all of that shit. You know. But anyway, so the Bible. Let me get through this. The Bible is an authoritative, fixed form of words used by the judicial system via canon law and ecclesiastic law, which is their form of fiat. It says, "In God we trust," and then swear an oath before their God to tell the truth, also held under penalty of perjury. So now, like I said, they try to hold you under penalty of perjury, which is also a state statute. So now, like I say, if you can, how we be writing like these nationality papers and all these different documentations, and we be like, "Oh, I'm sovereign. I'm the heir to the estate. I'm the this, the that, the da 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 da. I'm the God. I'm the Lord. I'm the King, the ruler, the all of that." You know what I'm saying? We be like, "I'm the sovereign ruler of the throne of the inherited estate of the." All right, we be saying all that fly stuff, and then we go and we be like, "Okay, Mr. Notary Man, can you notarize this for me and place me under the penalty of perjury?" So basically, after I just talked all this sovereign, I'm sovereign, and nobody has authority over me, and I'm not a United States citizen, and I'm not this, that, and the third, and X, Y, and da 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 da, then I place myself under penalty of perjury of the United States in their courts. So as I'm talking all this hot shit, I'm under their sword. I got their sword over my head. See what I'm saying? That's a contradiction, and that's what places you in a not good position. And then on top of that, does that not only place you under penalty of perjury, but like I say, it also changes the fiat. It transfers the fiat or the authoritative command that you were speaking. Like I said, you was talking about how you was sovereign and you was this, that, and the third, and you was all this, that, and the third. Then you go and get it notarized or certified, notarized, then certified, double, double dipped, then that puts you in a not good position, because now it's like, okay, well, now you just place yourself under our jurisdiction. You said you wasn't under it, but now you just place yourself back under it. So you got to be real careful what you do with your documentation. Okay. So the Bible, this jewel was dropped by Keith Little. He said, the Bible is the longest longest religiously authorized, book that has never been rebutted. You know what I'm saying? I put it in my own words, but I didn't want to change his words or whatever. But he basically said that it's the longest, religiously authorized book that has never been rebutted. You know what I mean? I put in, I said fixed form of words, which has never been rebutted. And the reason why I say that is because you can't ever face the authority to challenge the validity. Because remember, they dealing with a mystery God. You know what I'm saying? I put God in the sky is not real, but they can say they can say it and make you swear before their God, so you can't challenge their authority. You know what I'm saying? Because you just swore before their God that you gonna tell the truth and you're not gonna lie, and now you under penalty of perjury, and anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. See what I'm saying? So you just submitted all your authority, you know what I'm saying, to the court, which basically places you under their jurisdiction as well. So now you can't go into court trying to challenge jurisdiction and you swore yourself in. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they get you. I never swear in. I'll be like, excuse me, it's against my religion to swear in. And plus, there's some stuff in the Bible. I got to look up the exact verses where they say you're not supposed to swear. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? In the Bible, they say you're not supposed to swear. So how the hell are they going to have you swear on the Bible, and then in the Bible it says you're not supposed to swear? You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to make no oaths. You're not supposed to swear or make any oaths. You know what I'm saying? So the judge who has taken an oath to uphold the Constitution, which makes him a public servant, he now wants you to swear on the Bible. Like, yo, the Bible says you're not supposed to make no oaths or swears. So how you took an oath and then you telling me to swear? That's double wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck, nigga. And so help you God. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing, so help you God. Nigga, get out of here, man. Fuck out of here. These niggas is wrong. You know what I'm saying? They not doing shit right in his act. See what I'm saying? So, you know, like I say, that's why you got to be, you know, firm in your understanding of who and what God is, so you don't get caught up in their trickiness of how they manipulate who and what God is. Excuse me. So let me run that back, right? So I said, because you can't ever face their the authority to challenge the validity. Because remember, God in the sky is not real, but they can say it is and make you swear before their God, so now you can't challenge their authority. Because you just swore to their God, which is their authority, which means you submitted to their authority by swearing and making an oath before their God. You submitted to their godly authority, to their fiat. See, it's all about the fiat. You know how we say jurisdiction and we argue in jurisdiction? Argue fiat. You know what I'm saying? This is the new term. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I've been put up. I was up all night, man, because I really understand the essence of this word and how he broke this shit down and how powerful this is, man. You have to argue the fiat. You know what I'm saying? Fuck all that jurisdiction. I mean, you know, jurisdiction is what it is, whatever, And they got 1,000 forms of jurisdiction, man. So arguing that shit is like trying to get out of the damn labyrinth. You know what I'm saying? The mouse trying to get out of the maze and shit. You know what I mean? You know, because they got, oh man, there's so many different forms, man. Rim jurisdiction, this jurisdiction, all kind of jurisdictions. So anyway, so the thing is that, you know, your documentation is most powerful. Don't be caught up in whether, you know, they be trying to say, oh, we got personal jurisdiction over you because you said your name and we got, you know, and all that other shit. Your word is your bond, and what you put in your paperwork is most important. You know what I'm saying? And then also you got to be able to articulate what's in your paperwork as well. Don't just write up some fancy document and then you don't know how to speak that shit. Practice that shit. Say it over and over and over again to yourself or whatever. Record yourself saying it. Listen to yourself saying it. You know what I'm saying? Get comfortable with the language. You know what I'm saying? And all of that. You know what I'm saying? Watch videos of other people breaking shit down. All of that. Like, yo, when I used to go into court, man, I used to be on YouTube watching different court cases and getting hype, getting all my facts down and shit, getting ready. Like, yeah, I'm about to go in here and tear this judge up. Yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, I used to be on that shit. But now I realize that, you know, you can't just go in there and just, you know, blah, 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 and shooting all these facts at them. You got to write it down and put it in your fiat formatted documentation, you know what I'm saying, and then present it in the proper way. That was my fault in you know, learning, you know, through my trial and tribulation was court process. You got to learn court process, or procedure, rather I say. Procedure. Like on the first case, this is going to be the hearing, then we're going to have the discovery, then we're going to have the, you know, the whatever, you know, all the different steps of the case. And discovery is one of the most important ones. So after your hearing, you want to be like, yo, we need discovery. Like, in other words, discovery is like, you know, when you're bringing up all evidence from both sides. Like, in other words, if they try to say they got something against you, you need to bring that evidence forth. If you don't produce that evidence within this next court date, we're going for dismissal. Motion to dismiss based upon lack of discovery. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that they didn't produce any evidence that incriminates me or says I did anything wrong, or for them to bring any kind of lien or charge against me. So let's drop this case. We're wasting the court time, and you know, so forth and so forth. So that's real deep, man. How that's how they trick you into changing the fiat of your verbal stance, what you say out your mouth, and whatever your documentation says. Because your documentation, like I said, it could say all that. I'm sovereign. I'm this. I'm that. I'm that. I'm the executive of the estate. I'm and all that. But then they be like, do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but truth, so help you God? Like, in other words, do you submit to our authoritative command, which is our form of fiat? Do you submit to that? Oh, yes, I do. Yes, 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 Your Honor. Man, they just got you right there. See what I'm saying? So it's all about you going in there and knowing the step by step. You know what I'm saying? Don't swear. You know what I'm saying? Even the term affirm, they be like, well, do you affirm? Let's look up let's look up the term affirm. You know what I'm saying? I basically know what it basically means, you know what I'm saying? Same thing as like agree, but you know, it says okay. State affirm, state as fact, assert strongly and publicly. So in other words, do in this public forum, which we yeah, see, so that's how they get you. He affirms the the county's um, comments to peace. He affirmed the country's comments to peace. Anyway, so state as facts, asserted strongly and publicly. So in other words, how they get you is like in this public forum that they have, known as their courtroom, which they have jurisdiction in. Do you state certain facts, or do you strongly do you assert strongly and publicly, you know, saying these certain facts or whatever in our public forum? So in other words, once you start saying what you're saying, then they have what's called subject matter jurisdiction, meaning whatever you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. So understand, there's three like forms of jurisdiction they try to get off the bat. That's personal jurisdiction or personam jurisdiction, jurisdiction over your person by you stating your so-called name. And that's why when they say state your name for the excuse me, I don't have a name. However, I do have a divine calling, and my creator has placed into the consciousness of my parents to call me by the calling, Lord, Messiah, Allah, El, whatever the case may be, yada yada yada. You know, you state your name, state your calling. You know what I mean? And you know, just like basically, you ratify because everything they try to say to you is a contract. Everything they speak to you, they ask you a question. When you answer, that's how you contracted. So that's why they always ask you these questions. You know what I'm saying? Because these questions get you to contract with them. So one of the first questions they ask you is, "Can you state your name for the record?" Da, 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 da. And you tell them, "I don't have a name. You know, due to my divine creator, you know, placing the consciousness within through the divine creator." Through the will of the divine creator, placing the consciousness within my parents to call me by the divine calling of Lord Messiah, da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? This is what I am called by. And then the next thing is like, well, okay, I'm like, all right, we couldn't get him there. Okay, would you state where your address? Where do you live? State your address for the record. Da, da, da. Yes, I don't have an address per se. I do have a private dwelling in which I dwell, and I, you know, as you can also say, domicile. You know what I'm saying? The word domicile. Let's look up the term domicile. But first, let me look up dwell, because you know dwell is okay. Dwell. Dwell. Live in or at a specific or a live in or at a specified place. Groups of people still dwell in these caves. Yeah, like the Caucasian dwelled in the caves for 2,000 years. But anyway, but yeah, so live in or at a specified place. And also, oh, that's deep too, because that just reminded me. Live in or at a specified place. So in other words, I would more so adopt the first definition. I live in my body. I dwell in my body. And the actual me is the, you know, see, you get religious on them, the spirit, which is the spirit of God that dwells within me. You know what I'm saying? See, I am but a spirit housed within this physical shell placed before you. Therefore, you can prison my body, but you can never imprison my soul. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm joking around, but that's some real shit though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? You tell them, yo, listen, I live in or I domicile in my physical body. Like, I live in my body. This is where I live. You know what I'm saying? What do you mean you live in your body? That's when you start getting all spiritual on them. You know what I'm saying? You start getting all ecclesiastic on them. You know what I'm saying? To use their words, you start speaking that canon law. You know, that shit that they understand, the shit that they trying to spin on you. You spin that shit back off on them. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all about the fiat. It's about the authoritative command. And remember, the person that's asking the questions, remember, when you're asking, you are as king. You're asking. That makes you as king. Like, as if you're in the authority to ask me a question. I'll be telling my queen, I'll be like, yo, don't be asking me no questions. But at the same time, the only one that should be asking you questions, the QU, the only one that should be quizzing or asking you questions is the queen. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you ain't my queen, you don't be asking me no questions. You know what I'm saying? What you asking me questions for? You ain't authority to question me. You know what I'm saying? But that's a science. So with the judge is asking. So he's trying to act as king. You know what I mean? As if he's an authority to ask you these questions, and as if like you have to answer him. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. So once you start answering all those questions, that's why in one specific question you don't answer either too. They be trying to ask you, oh well, do you work within the state of such and such, whatever state you in, or are you occupied within the state of da 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 da? Because that's another form of jurisdiction they have over you too. If you work within the state or within their township, their jurisdictions, then they could try to place some kind of jurisdiction over you. So when they be asking you where do you work and this, that, and the third, or asking you monetary questions and asking you about your da 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 da, you ain't gotta answer none of those questions. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say I tell the judge all the time, like, listen, I'm not necessarily. I don't feel like I should answer that question because I don't feel like it's relevant to the matters at hand. You know what I'm saying? That's how you spin that off right there. You know, so it's not like, oh man, what you asked me that for? Like, no, you ain't got to get all belligerent. You always be intelligent. You always show them that you are speaking firmly and strongly, as I said before, to in the last definition we was looking at before. You know what I'm saying? To speak strongly and publicly. You know what I'm saying? And you let them know, like, yo, you speaking from your authority, which is your form of fiat. You know what I'm saying? Remember that. Keep that word in your head. Fiat. That's your authoritative command. You know what I'm saying? Authoritative command. Your act of will. Your divine right. You know what I'm saying? And you always got to speak from that sense. Like another and to get more specific, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially as far as for the black man, you come in there with your crown on, your flag on, and things like that. They know who you are, man. You know what I'm saying? And you got to make them respect the God. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you study under me. I don't study under you. You know what time it is. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gotta be up in your lodge to know that. But you know I know. You study under me. I don't study under you. So you not asking me no questions and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, being that we are the true heirs to the land, you got to state the fact that you are Aboriginal. You know what I'm saying? That you're a native to the land. And this Caucasian judge, whatever his so-called nationality may be, it's not your nationality. So we don't share nationalities. Therefore, you can't judge me. Facts. You know what I'm saying? You can't judge me. So they might try to get a so-called black judge or place a judge of melanin before you and be like, yo, he can judge you. And nigga, please. You can't even judge me now because you ain't part of my tribal government. You know what I'm saying? Now you go into a whole nother realm on them now. You know what I'm saying? Just because y'all place this house nigga before me, y'all think he gonna be able to judge me too just because we share the same complexion of skin? No. He better have some status. You know what I'm saying? He better have declared his nationality. You know what I'm saying? Because if he's a Negro, colored, African American, nigga, you can't judge me either. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Like, you gonna get on it like that too. Because they be trying to play these games. You know what I'm saying? They got a lot of game. But I'm aware of all these things. You know what I mean? Not all, but it's a lot of game. But I'm saying, I'm up on a lot of this shit. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta be aware. and keep that fiat mind state that you are speaking from your own authority. Okay, now let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. So like I said, so they try to run the God game and get you to swear and place you under their authority, and then being like I said, being that you swear under their authority, you can't never challenge their authority. So when they say, "Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help me God?" I'm like, well, due to the Bible that you want me to swear upon, that very Bible states that if because in some churches they don't, I mean, some courts they don't necessarily got the Bible no more, but they ask you to swear before God, which is the same shit. I'd be like, well, the very word in which the God you speak of, in the very word it says that you're not supposed to make oaths, and I believe you took an oath, right? And yeah, and now you want me to also swear, which is also forbidden in the book. So I'm not really understanding that. Which means, and understand means the contract. So I'm not contracting with that. You know what I'm saying? When you say I don't understand, that means you don't contract. I don't stand under. To understand means to stand under. The judge be like, do you understand the charges that are No, I don't understand any of this. I don't understand your customs. I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? You start speaking from a national standpoint, because nations have customs and things of that nature, and also if you've done your letter of ascension, your instrument of ascension, and you've adopted a treaty, then now you can speak from the provisions, from treaty provisions. Now the law is the law of treaty. You go into international law, which really takes it out of the venue of these little county courts and district courts and all of that, because treaty law deals with international law. So now they're gonna have to transfer the case to a higher court, to a Supreme Court. You know what I mean? So, so that's why you want to re-ratify your documentation and basically declare your own status. Because remember, man, everything is validated by your own word. Your word is your bond. And as far as with credit and all of that, you know what I'm saying? People, listen, credit is created. You create your own credit. You have the credit, you create your own credit. Just credit is created, or assets are created simply because you say they are. You know what I'm saying? Like you say it, and it is like the term fiat. Remember the term fiat. It comes from the Latin. It comes from the what was that definition? Okay, here we go. The term fiat derives from the Latin word fiat, meaning let it be done. You know what I'm saying? Used in a sense of an order, decree, or resolution. See what I'm saying? So yeah, so basically, it is, man. Let it be done, man. You know what I mean? When you file your contract, your paperwork, that's you filing your contract. Basically, that's how you contract. That's how you stand. That's your contract. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. So, and another form of how, like, the judges and all that try to have, like, and I said, see the game they running. So the judge, he acts like he's has the authority to give an order. He can order things. The judge can order a warrant for your arrest. You know what I'm saying? He can order a summons for you to come to court. He can give a sentence. He can give a judgment. He can give an appeal. You know what I'm saying? Or an injunction. You know what I'm saying? So these are different orders that the judge can give, as if like he has that authority. And like I said, notice how the judge, he sits with that term above his head, in God we trust. Now, that goes two ways. It goes in the sense of them, like I say, creating their government or their institution by way of fiat. And it's also stating that you, the original, coming in there, you know what I'm saying, as the living being. Oh, and that also, boom, that's deep too. It also brings me back to what Keith Little, he dropped the jewel about how, the probate, you know what I'm saying, the probate courts and so forth. When you come before the probate courts with your living will, he didn't say this exactly, but basically what he said was that in the probate court, there's no such thing as probate when you come as the living heir. So now to expand upon that, my understanding of expanding upon that is that, like, now, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, because when you come, when you showing them that your estate is alive, that you have a living will, which is alive. You're showing them that, like, yo, I don't have to die in order for this to come into existence. This is in existence right now. This is my will right now. Because, like, okay, let's look up the word will. Like, what is will? You know what I'm saying? Look up the word will. Will, it says, expressing the future tense. You will regret when you are older. Expressing inevitable events. Accidents will happen. So, they ain't giving such pleasant examples, but however, will, saying, like, to express future tense. Like the yo, I will, man, I'll be there, man, I'll be there. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jackson said, I'll be there. You know what I'm saying? I will be there. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, he's expressing the future tense. He's expressing that, like, yo, I will be there. Just look over your shoulder, honey. You know what I'm saying? He said, yo, he'll be there. So that was the will. Oh, and my man Will I Am, right? You know what I'm saying? You know that song Black Eyed Peas? Yeah, that's a whole nother breakdown. But anyway. So will, you know what I'm saying? But a will. So now when it's pertaining to all right, let's go deeper. What's the person's will? Okay, here we go. The meaning of will: a legal declaration of a person's wishes regarding the disposal of his or her property or estate. See, after death especially. Okay, but they say after death especially, but that doesn't mean only after death. You know what I'm saying? A written instrument legally executed by which a person makes disposition of his or her estate to take effect after death. See, that's what I'm talking about. They always concentrating on some after death shit. No, okay, now let's look up living will. What is a living will? Because you should be able to express your will while you're living, like, not just when you die. Come on, man. What the hell, bro? What the heck happened? Man, shit acting up now, man. I don't know, man. That shit just started acting up on me, man. What the heck happened? Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Anyway, so your living will is like your like, and you know how you have like a last will and testament. Okay, see, like, yeah, let's start getting into these terms, because, like, yeah, it gets real deep, right? Now, I'll come back to that in a minute, though, with the living will and so forth. My computer's acting up right now. I don't know why. Anyway, Bible is as long as religion. All right, so I said, and they also say terms like God bless America. You know what I'm saying? So they're placing America under a godly ordinance. You know what I'm saying? By saying the term God bless America. And they also state in the pledge, when you stand for the pledge for school, it says one nation under God. indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. See, so they're saying that they have the ability to bring about liberty and justice for all because they are one nation under God. So so-called God is their fiat, their authoritative command in order to bring about liberty and justice to all. You know what I'm saying? So, see what I'm saying? So now liberty and justice, justice, that's dealing with their judicial system. So now that's why I say they have in the court, in God we trust, and all of that. See how all of this is connected? And see, and it's also, it's connected, but it's also a contradiction too, because they speak about separation of church and state. But yet you don't see a separation of church and state. I wrote a poem like years ago when I was in high school, high school, maybe middle school. I said high school. I said, in the United States, they say they separate government from religion, but through my observation, I see many contradictions. Between the two, there's no division. When there's an American flag posted at every church that's Christian, an instance, at school, when you stand for the pledge, how many people listen to the words that are said? It states, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. And what we need to understand is that there's no separatism with government and religion when Republican and God are placed in the same sentence. Republican is God, the flag is their religion. No, what I said? The flag is the republic is the government, the flag is the religion. They can't be separated if they're both in cohesion. So I forgot the rest of that, but anyway, basically saying that everywhere you go, you see the union of church and state. So in other words, like I said, if you go to a church which is supposed to be a religious, place or whatever, you're gonna see a flag on the grounds or inside that church somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Also letting you know that that's a government funded organization, because the government funds the churches. You know what I'm saying? 501c3. All these churches are funded through 501c3, which is another thing you need to look into, because the churches are lying to you about the building fund and all of this money they say they need from the people, when everything in the church is taken care of. They do not need to keep the lights on and this and that. That's all funded through the 501c3. Look it up. 501c3. Government subsidy and all of that shit. So when they telling you, oh, we need this and we need that, and come on, y'all need to come out your pockets and give to the Lord, and you're gonna get your blessing and blah blah blah. It's all BS, man. Just for them to get more and more money. And see, and the thing is though, the 10%. See, that's the science of the 10%. Bloodsuckers of the poor. 10%. Who's the blood? The rich, slave makers of the poor, those who teach the poor lies to make the people believe that the almighty true and living God is a spook in the sky and can't be seen with the physical eye, otherwise known as bloodsuckers of the poor. So they've been bloodsucking the poor, for the longest time. And that's why I say they're using the fiat in the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? They're using the divine authority in the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? So according to the Bible, okay, now this where it really gets deep too. Now I showed you how they created the currency through the monetary system through fiat. And then I showed you how they created their government through fiat, which was the Constitution and Declaration of Independence. You know what I'm saying? And remember, fiat is an authoritative command. So, according to, so-called religion, whatever, God is the most high and has the most authoritative command than anybody in the universe. So therefore, if that's your authority, then that's the most high command. That's the most supreme fiat. See what I'm saying? That's how you got to think about it. That's how they got to use it. That's how you use the term. But using it in a more righteous sense, not how they use it to manipulate it. You know what I'm saying? But using it to bring back the power and authority to man. Because even as it says, like I said, I'm about to get into, it says according to the Bible, the world, and I put and man, was created by fiat. And you know how they say Genesis, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth and da 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 da. So if so-called God created the heavens and the earth, that means that the world, so-called, was created by the command or the will of God, the authoritative will of quote so-called God. And I say so-called because we know ain't nothing spooky out there. People think of God, they're thinking of some white man spooky spirit floating around in the universe that created everything. Like, really? But anyway, that we know that's old and played out. The man with the, they've been doing that for years. They put the white guy with the beard, and he gets all mad, and he throws thunderbolts down, and I'm God, and I say that you know what I'm saying? And like, come on, man, the stuff we seen in the Charles Heston movies where he played Moses and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy to me though, as far as with the Bible and all that, how they talk about, God coming down. Let me not drift too much though, but they was talking about where every time he comes, he's always like hiding behind some cloud or in a burning bush, or he never like shows his face fully. Like, come on, man, show yourself, man. What are you always hiding for? Anyway, so all right, so according to the Bible, the world, and I put and man was created by fiat. So now when it comes to man, Genesis 1:26, and let us make and God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and let him have dominion over the earth and over the fish of the sea, the fowl of the air, everything that created upon earth, beasts of the field, everything that created upon earth, and so forth, right? So now also you got John 1:14. Now I'm gonna look this one up because I actually like this shit, because this verse gets deep though, and yeah, shit's deep. Oh, but hold on, pardon me, because my computer got right, and the definition for living will popped up. So living will, a written statement a written statement detailing a person's desires regarding their medical treatment in circumstances in which they are no longer able to express informed consent, especially an advance directive. So in other words, like if you become incapacitated, you get injured, or you have a brain injury or something, you're not thinking right or something, whatever, your living will have a provision in it that'll like take care of your medical treatments and so forth and so forth. And you can have also what's called a medical power of attorney, a durable power of attorney. All these different powers of attorney to secure the fact of like if you're not able to handle the situations, then someone will be in place to make sure that these things are taken care of. This is all part of estate planning, y'all. You gotta start being planning your estate. And it's not just for you, but this is for your future, for your kids and your grandkids and your great grandkids and so forth, so forth. You gotta start thinking generationally. Because remember, the wealth was taken from us generationally. We were enslaved generationally. So we got to come out of these generational curses. And even since we speak about the Bible and all of that, Hosea 4:6 says our people perish due to a lack of knowledge. And then it goes on to say, being that you rejected knowledge, I will reject you. And being that you rejected knowledge, I will reject your children to come. So in other words, rejecting knowledge is ignorance. So that goes to show you that according to the Bible, ignorance, by you rejecting knowledge, God is going to reject you. And not only you, but reject your children. So therefore, ignorance is a generational curse. You know what I'm saying? Like, because and that's just a fact within itself, regardless about a belief in God or whatever and all that anyway. But because, like, if you ignorant, then your kids going to be ignorant. Because kids learn from their parents. So it's just that simple, you know what I'm saying? So if you ignorant and you never educated yourself, if you don't care about educating yourself and you just continue to be ignorant, then whoever your kids are, and if they listening to you and watching you and following you and mimicking themselves after you, they're going to be the same damn thing. Consciously or subconsciously. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't smoke the crack in front of my child, but my child see me acting all out of order, and they like, what's wrong, mama, what's wrong? But anyway, So yeah, so living will is a written statement declaring a person's desires regarding their medical. Now they spoke about medical, but it's not only medical. It's dealing with property as well. You know what I'm saying, and other aspects of whatever you put in your will. You can put all kind of stuff in your will. So you can say how you want your say you got a China collection. I want my China collection to go to my daughter. I want my cars to go to my son. I want this, that, similar to a trust. I'm saying how you have provisions in a trust. You can have that same thing in the will. And also too, what makes the will a living will, I would say also is kind of like how you blend your trust with your will. Because like I said, you can make reference to your trust in your will. So you can say, according to the trust that I have set up, in my will, this is how I want that trust to be, operated or whatever case may be. So yeah, you can place your trust inside your will as well. So your will is kind of like it's like the ultimate umbrella, you can say. You know what I'm saying? Your will is like your ultimate umbrella. It like everything can go in it and under it. You know what I'm saying? So, let's say you have a business. You can say, I want all the assets of my business to be distributed through da da da. You can put all that in your will. You know what I'm saying? So the will is a real important document, as the king says, the most important document. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So, okay, now going on right now. Oh yeah, now John 1:20, John 1:14. Well, 1 through 14. Pardon me. King James. Okay, let's get it. Okay, in the beginning, this is John 1 and 1. This is John 1 through 1. This is John 1, 1 through 14. Chapter 1, verse 1 through 14. Okay, boom. In the beginning. And also now, see, here we go, man. Because you already know the Bible got mad contradictions. But wasn't there already a beginning in Genesis where quote unquote God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void in the deepness and all that good stuff. Now there's another beginning. So there's like a second beginning. So now in John 1, in the beginning, the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Woo! That right there, boom, that was power right there, because now let's go back to fiat. Fiat is what? An authoritative command. Where does like I say, in the courtroom, they're dealing with canon law and ecclesiastic law. So where does all their law come from, or where does all their command come from? It comes from from their God, and it comes from the Bible, basically. You know what I'm saying? Because they're God. Well, now, like I said, remember, in secrecy, they're dealing with a whole nother religion that's not the Bible. I mean, the Bible might be part of it, but they studying some other stuff. So their God ain't the God that you think it is. But anyway, in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. So now remember, like I say, fiat means an authoritative command. So now what is word? Like, saying like, yo, that's my word. You know what I'm saying? People like, yo, word is bond, son, yo, word is bond, son, that's my word. If he come over here with that, yo, that's my word. Like, so in other words, like as if like, like on God. Like, see, we say it in religious word, like, yo, that's my word on God. No, you should be like, that's my word as God. Like, yo, word is my bond. It's like, yo, my word is bond. Word is bond, God. You know what I'm saying? If that nigga gonna be with that bullshit, nigga, yo, I'm you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, you got that gotta be your word as God. Like, fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word I mean, in the beginning, the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So now, if the Word was with God, and the Word was God, now, if the Word was God, then that means that when the Word was spoken, then, that was the authority of the Word. The authority of the Word was of a godly authority, the most high authority, because the Word was God. So see how you can use that as your power? You know what I'm saying? You can use that as your fiat. See what I'm saying? This is what they doing. They using the Bible all day. You know what I'm saying? So you better learn how to use that shit to your advantage. You know what I'm saying? Now, what is he talking about? Is he teaching religion? Is he talking about some 10% shit? No. I'm showing you how to I'm showing you how to use fiat so that you can organize your constitution, organize your government, and get up out of this fiat jurisdiction, or out of their fiat government that they created, and create your own. You know what I'm saying? When King L Baby dropping down some of this stuff, I was asking questions, whatever. I was like, damn, man, it's like you saying I gotta rewrite the Matrix. And he like, nah, it ain't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't that. It's not that I gotta, and I thought about it, I said, no, it's not that I gotta rewrite the Matrix. I just gotta write my own Matrix. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Fuck rewriting the Matrix. Now, you can use some of their, you know what I'm saying, language. Like I said, you can always use the language, always use their language and kind of re-ratify it into your own terms. So that way you staying in accord with their language, you know what I'm saying, how they speak and the terms they use, but you ratifying the contract to fit your terms. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you deal in contract law, and that's how you ratify contracts. You know what I'm saying? Or one of the ways you ratify contracts. All right, so like I said, so in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So if you're using the Word, which is God, you know what I'm saying? Like based according to the Bible, the Word is God. You know what I'm saying? So if you're using the Word of the Bible, man, that's the Word of God. Like that Word is God. That Word is law. That Word is fiat. You know what I'm saying? That word is fiat. That word has a authoritative command. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you think it says, "In God we trust." In the courtroom, in God we trust. And then the first thing they try to get you to do is swear on their Bible or swear to their God. You know what I'm saying? So then that, like I say, that places you under their authoritative command according to their God. So now you can't start talking about your authoritative command and your God or your power in which you stand, because now you just submitted to their God and their powers. You know what I'm saying? So that's the trick in it. Never swear. Never do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you always spin that shit off on some, well, according to my, religion, I don't, swear. And even according to the Bible, it says you're not supposed to swear. But, however, my word is my bond. And, so forth, so forth. You got to speak in that way. Like, like your word is your bond. You know what I'm saying? Like, you speak for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's according to my own will. You know what I mean? Okay, so going on. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. So now remember when it says, it goes back to fiat, it says that creates without, or as if without further effect. So it says according to, now remember, the United States is a Christian nation. And like I said, there's some evidence Obama showed. I got to go back to that video where he's breaking down how, like, really it's a Muslim nation or Islam. But anyway, remember, George Washington changed the fiat of the nation. You know what I'm saying? He changed the fiat of the nation from Islam to Christianity, although its foundation is Islam. You know what I'm saying? But he changed the fiat of the nation. He changed the authority of the nation from an Islamic authority to a Christian or a ecclesiastic authority. Based upon the Declaration of Independence and all of that, and the Constitution and so forth, so forth. So as far as with things being made without effort and so forth, it says all things was made by him, and without him was nothing made. So they're saying that then, saying through the word of God, all things was made, and without that, nothing can be made. So basically, all things is made by God. Saying the original man, the maker and owner, cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization, and God of the universe. To put it in proper context, which I will do throughout here because we're dealing with religious terminology. But we're going to stay rooted in the natural fiat, which is that you are the God conscious. You know what I'm saying? But you may have to put it in a religious language so that they understand you and so that they contract with you and that you can get the results and the remedies that you want. So that's the science. So in him was life, and the life was the light of men. See, now that's deep, right? And now in him was life, and in him was the light of men. So in other words, so that word, was the life, and that life was the light of men. And it said, and the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehendeth it not. And that's a whole nother deep parable in itself too. I'll go into another time, but yeah. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. Now this is speaking about John when he had seen the Messiah or had seen Jesus and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Speaking about this experience and so forth. The same came for a witness to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. So in other words, he came for the testimony of Jesus Christ. As they speak about John the Baptist in Revelations chapter 1 verse 9, when they say he was in the Isles of Patmos, you know what I'm saying, for the testimony of Jesus Christ. Because word, and that's deep too, because they was locking people up for bearing witness to the Messiah, as far as the Bible is concerned and all of that. You know what I'm saying? They was like, he was trying to crucify people and lock them up and whatnot. So John the Baptist did some time in the name of Jesus, you know what I'm saying? I think they beheaded John the Baptist too, man. Did that happen, man? Somebody got beheaded in the Bible. I was like, wow, that's some shit. But anyway, so that was a true light. So he was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. Yeah, so John wasn't the light necessarily, but he was being sent to bear witness to that light. And it said that was the true light which lighteth every man that cameth into the world. So they saying that, he had that spark, he had that magnetic, saying he was in the world and the world was made by him and the world knew him not. And part of stuff, he came onto his son and his son received, he came onto his own and his own received him not. But as many as received him, gave he power to become sons of God, even to them that believe in his name. I don't know about all of that, because if he had that spark and you had to at least be in his presence to get the grace so that you could get the spark, you know what I'm saying, the magnetic could rub off on you, you ain't gonna get it just by believing in the name. Like, you know what I'm saying, you gotta be in the personal and get that magnetic, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. He could, and really the science is the light within you is your chakras, because Jesus was talking about opening up the chakras, you know what I'm saying, when you really get metaphysical with it, you know what I mean. He spoke about the 7 churches, you know what I'm saying, and the 7 seals. When Revelation speak about the 7 seals and the cracking of the 7 seals, that's you opening up the valves of your chakras. That's you open up your 7 chakras, the 7 seals. You know what I'm saying? 7 planes of energy, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? But as many as, all right, so, which were born not of blood, not of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. See, you know what I'm saying? You know, see how they always trying to separate, now remember, they were saying that this word was God. The word was with God and the word was God. And they said, but now, and they try to like separate the word from man. Like they just said, not the will of the flesh nor the will of man, but of God, as if man is not a God. But peep how what they about to say in the next verse, which is the most favorite verse I really want to get to. And it said, and the word was made flesh and dwelled among us. And we, in the other version, it says, and dwelled among men. Okay, it says, dwelled among us, and we behind his glory, that the glory of the only begotten of the Father, full of the truth. So anyway, it says, and the word became flesh and dwelled among us. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to say us, okay, I guess that includes like everybody. But in other versions, it says dwelled among men. You know what I'm saying? So the word became flesh. But peep though, the verse before that it says, which were not born, not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And the word was made flesh and dwelled among us. So if it wasn't of the will and but then it became and dwelled among them. So I mean, that was kind of a contradiction, but but anyway. So anyway, the most important thing out of that I want to get out of that was that the word became flesh and dwelled among us. And really, let me find another version so I can satisfy my my teaching by finding the exact where it says and dwelled among men, because I know that it says that. Maybe the NIV will say that. Oh nope, they say us too. Maybe it was the Gideon's version. Maybe Gideon says dwelled among men. All right. And the word nope, keep saying us. Okay, well. Where's hold on one second. Well, all in all, if it says men, or even if it says us, that's plural, basically. So, the signs that's plural, that means that it's more than one person. So if the word, which is God, became flesh and dwelled among us, that means that the word, which was God, became flesh. We are flesh, so that means that the word became flesh, or the word manifests into the physical flesh, which is us, and dwelled among us. And remember, we looked up the word dwell before. It means to reside, to live in, or at a specific place. So if it said us, it said the word which was God became flesh and dwelled among us. It didn't say it became spirit and dwelled up in the sky. You see what I'm saying? Like that's ooh, I just came to that revelation too. That's real deep. I peeped that. It didn't say the word became spirit and dwelled in the sky, floating around. It said the word became flesh and dwelled among us. So that's a whole nother concept than how people think God is a spirit floating around in the sky. No, it said that the word became flesh and dwelled among us. So where y'all getting this stuff from? But I'm drifting. I'm drifting. Okay, man, I'll look that up another time, man. But you know what I'm saying? So I made sense of my point, though, basically. So now, all right, so according to the Bible, the world was made by Fiat. So you got John 14. Now, you also got the Lord's Prayer. Now, let's look at the Lord's Prayer. King L.B. was breaking this down, too. You know what I'm saying? The Lord's Prayer. Let me show you. See, people be saying that Lord's Prayer, but Don't really know what it means. Oh, right. Train to live the trains, go hard to go home, no pain, no gain. Hard work is another daily routine. Boxing hard like Joe Lewis in the ring. My six pack is something stupid. Alright, hold up. Pull this up real fast. Alright, so alright, came inverted and alright, let's just flip this up here just a second. Alright, we just gonna read this version right here. Usually it's mostly the same shit. Alright, so and this is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. No, hallowed be your name. Not hallowed be thy name. Hallowed be your name. Meaning your name is hallowed. It's echoed. You know what I'm saying? Like, people call your name, the name is echoed. You know what I'm saying? Hallowed. You're speaking to a hollow log, you get an echo sound. Yeah. So the name is hallowed. That's what that means. Your kingdom come. Okay, now peep it. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Stop. We ain't even got to go on. Just that one part right there is the most important. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Now remember, the term fiat comes from the Latin word meaning let it be done. So this right here is another form of fiat because it says that the will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So now, what gives you the power to speak with that godly authority? Because according to Matthew 6:9-13, it says that your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So that means that and let me give my disclaimer. We know that heaven is not some spooky place in the sky. You know what I mean? But the way that it may be perceived is if, like, in another dimension, the will of God is being manifested, and as so on earth, that same, fiat or authoritative command is being manifested. Give us today our daily bread and forgive us. Oh, and peep that. And forgive us of our debts as we also have forgiven our debtors. So now, when you're dealing in the courts and all of that, you know what I'm saying, they trying to charge you. They trying to put you in all these debts and all of that. Yo, listen, man, that will be done. You know what I'm saying? On earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. In other words, like, the authority comes from the Creator, and I'm going to create this credit. Like, give us our daily bread. So therefore, like, in other words, excuse this debt in the name of God. To kind of sum it up, what I'm saying, before I start philosophizing and trying to, all that shit. In the name of God, relieve this debt, goddammit. You know what I'm saying? So forgive us of our debts as we also have forgiven our debtors. So in other words, the debt collectors, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, man, I forgive you, man. Let bygones be bygones, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, man, you know what I'm saying? Give us our daily bread, man. In other words, or in legal terms, what you call accept for value. Ooh, oh, and damn, see, this shit gets deeper and deeper. Now, accept for value. Now, when you go into the science of acceptance for value, as if, like, they are supposed to accept it based upon the value, meaning that there is no money. They know there is no money, and they know that they are obligated to HJR 192, which is also known as Public Law 9710. You know what I'm saying? which is basically stating how, like I say, the United States government is responsible to pay the debts of the American people. So they know that, you know what I'm saying? Like, now remember, you got to put all this in your fiat and state all of that, and so forth, so forth, so forth. And lead us to not into temptation. And like even when Tupac said, only God can judge me, you know what I'm saying, speaking in a religious sense. But you use that terminology in the court because they even know, like, yo, nigga, you ain't God, you know what I'm saying? You can't judge me, even though you sitting up there in a black robe trying to imitate the original God, you know what I'm saying, who that is. But like, you can't judge me, you know what I'm saying? Like, who are you? You trying to judge me? Nah, you can't judge me, you know what I'm saying? You got to send somebody of equal authority. And being that my authority comes from, the Most High, so to speak, there's no more high authority than that. Like, you're going to have to get God's God to tell me otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? And see, and now peep it. That's how they trick you up with the swearing. When they get you to swear in, they're putting their fiat over your fiat. So they're putting their godly authority over your godly authority by getting you to swear to their godly authority. See how the game goes? So stand your square with your own godly authority. That's in life in general, you have to do that. But you know what I mean? But yeah, especially in the courts, because that's the science, and that's what they're dealing with. So now, according to the Bible, all things was created by the world was created by fiat. Now also now these are just specific verses in my mind that I pulled up. You can pull up plenty of other verses in the Bible, you know what I'm saying? Or the Quran, or whatever holy book you subscribe to, you know what I'm saying? And really, technically, I don't really subscribe to any of these books. But I'm just saying, as far as using it for the purpose intended, yeah, I know these verses and all of that, and this is how you can use it to your advantage. You know what I'm saying? So because like I said, everything is this is the science, and what they're dealing with is a fiat government, fiat money system, fiat everything is fiat. You know what I'm saying? And even though, like I say, it's a false fiat because they're not dealing with the true and living God. But until you contest that, or until you be like, well, I see it otherwise, they're gonna do what they do. You know what I'm saying? It's all fiat on their behalf. It's in God we trust. You know what I'm saying? Let's get this money, nigga. Now come before me and let me make a trust out of you. Oh yes. We have your birth certificate. We got your social security number. Yeah, you put it on the application when you filed your petition in the court. Yes, thank you for that. So you just gave us permission to tap into your account, make all kind of tap into your estate, make all kind of accounts, and off of your credit. Thank you for that, Mr. So and so. Yeah. So because remember, the whole time, man, until we declare otherwise, we're state property. You know what I'm saying? We're state property. And they can do whatever they want to do with their property. See what I'm saying? So this is why you got to show competence in the court. That's the major thing, competence. And in all, not only because of the fact that they can't fuck with you, I mean, just quite honestly, I mean, unless you get a hater judge, like a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, they may respect you, you know what I'm saying, for the fact like, yo, this nigga came in here, this nigga really know his shit, man. Like, yo, man, most people, we just run over these niggas, man, but this dude here, yo, you know what, man, I gotta respect him, man. You know what, man, this nigga came in and showed and proved. He showed and proved. He ain't fall for none of our many multi-layered tricks. He stood his square all the way through. He manifested his fiat, and he got the decision that he wanted. Damn, you know what? I've won cases before. I have cases dismissed before. It wasn't dealing with this high science of fiat and all of that. But the judges respected me afterwards. Like, yo, they knew, like, yeah, you've been in my court before, and you know that I do fair, and yeah, whatever, nigga. But anyway, but after a while, when they see your face for a while and they know you be speaking that shit and you stand your square, they gonna respect you. You know what I'm saying? They gonna give you a certain level of respect more so than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? How they do the uneducated people. You know what I'm saying? They just run over them. Next, next, next. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you don't want to be another next. And, always when I go to court, man, I'm always the last one called. So ain't nobody coming next after me. You know what I'm saying? It's either I'm going home or I'm going to jail. You know what I'm saying? And by that, I mean, like, maybe held in contempt because, I'm coming off with that fly shit that they don't want to hear. Spitting that nigger knowledge that they don't want to hear. But anyway. So, all right. So now, boom. Also, remember, just like they used the Articles of Confederation, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and all of that to organize their fiat government, they used the "In God We Trust" and this is legal. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, to establish their fiat currency. They also used the Bible and all of these different things to establish their religion, which they run through the government or through the judiciary system. And this is why I say there is no separation of church and state, because they always combine in the two. Just like people always talk about, yo, public and private, you're always supposed to separate the public and the private. Man, public and private mix all the time. You know what I'm saying? So all this like, oh, yo, you got to stay strictly public, strictly private and all that. Man, yo, listen, let me tell everybody out there, whoever's on, like I say, people that's on this wave and into this information, all of that, don't get so caught up in that everything has to be strictly private. Because for one, we, the people in the private, as far as melanated people are concerned, we not even of that independence at this point to be acting like we could do everything in the private. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you have a medical institution I could come to you to get private medical insurance? No. Do you have a private school that I could send my kids to so they could get a private education? No. Do you have a private bank that I could put my money into so I can have a private security over my funds? No. So, you know what I mean? Stop talking all this private shit. Like everything got to be in the private. When you get all of that established, then okay, we could talk that. But right now, you're going to have to do some things in the public and then transfer these things from the public into the private. See, that's the science. When you watch The Matrix, you know what I'm saying? When they, I always use the example of The Matrix because The Matrix is a perfect example of public and private. When they went into The Matrix, that's like them going into the public. When you in the privacy of your own home, you're in your privacy. That's your own headquarters. You know what I'm saying? But when you step outside the door, you in the Matrix. You know what I'm saying? You subject to the public. And that's why they tell you, I could fucking light up a joint right now and smoke weed in the privacy of my own home. You know what I mean? But if I step outside the door, I'm now liable to the public. Now a woman could complain and say, yo, I got my babies over here. This nigga smoking weed and shit and da. I could possibly get a ticket or something for disturbing the peace or something. You know what I mean? So because I'm subject to the public. But if it's inside my own home, nigga, a cop can knock on the door right now and be like, yo, man, we smell weed. We got a complaint. Somebody said they smell weed. But like, nigga, and nigga, I'm smoking a joint. I'm right here in the privacy of my own home. What you want to do? Arrest me? Okay, so have a nice day. Bye. Fuck out of here. Nigga, ain't shit he could do. You know what I'm saying? And especially with this new legalization of weed shit now, like, they got laws and all that shit now. So it's like, but it was never a serious thing like that anyway. You know what I mean? As far as just like dealing with weed or whatever. Like, it's not that serious. But just an example of, the public and the private. But however, like I said, they all mix because, like I just said, they could send a public officer to your private home. Now, if you know your rights, you know that being that that's your private conveyance, you do not have to answer that door. You do not have to open that door and allow that public person into your private home. You know what I'm saying? Keep that public motherfucker out there in the public and do not allow him into your privacy. You have privacy for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So that's the science. You don't let the fucking these intruders into your privacy. They gotta respect your privacy just like you do. Like you don't just go up to a cop car door and open the cop car door and be like, yo, hey man, what's going on, man? Yo, man, the way you just beat on that person, that wasn't right, man. Yo, man, I'm about to take you down to the precinct and write up a complaint on you, nigga, because that wasn't right. Like you like, come on, man. I mean, like you don't do that to them niggas, so they ain't about to come in your private headquarters and start dictating law to you. You know what I mean? Like, fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, and that goes for CPS or anybody else. So all these agencies trying to come into your home. You have the right to keep the motherfuckers right at the door. And I'll talk to you through the door. Or I may go and crack my window open and speak to you that way. You know what I'm saying? But you're not stepping foot in my home. Facts. So anyway. So yeah, so they use so now they use the Lord's Prayer, you know what I'm saying? So like I said, I just showed you John 1 through 14. They use the Lord's Prayer, you know, thy will be done, you know what I'm saying, on earth as it is in heaven. Also, you know, you got the Old Testament, you got the New Testament, and you got the Last Testament. Hence, last will and testament. See, like I said, their fiat or their authoritative command comes from the Bible. Which is the last testament. And the Old Testament or the New Testament it's all a testament. And what is a testament? Let's look up the word testament. But you know, saying that testament is a testimony of the word of God. So that's why, like, in the last testament, you got like the four writers: Luke, John, Paul, and Peter or some shit, whatever the four writers was, you know what I'm saying, of the gospel, the four writers of the gospel and all that. And it's supposed to be testimonies of how they traveled with the Messiah and how they, you know, and all that good stuff. And now also remember, a fiat is an authoritative command. What's the root word command in the 10 commandments? See, they use the 10 commandments. And that's also part of their law, because they say, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet your brother's wife. So if a married woman is having an affair, the man could divorce her based upon that. He could now breach that contract, that legal contract they had, based upon the fact that she breached the contract. See what I'm saying? You know, if you kill somebody, you know what I'm saying, you're going to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to get justice for that. If you steal something, they're going to lock you up. Be like, yo, this nigga stole something out the store or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So they using these same commandments to create their justice system. See what I'm saying? So this is where their authoritative commands come from. Straight out the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So can't we do the same thing? Who made the holy? Now for the gods out there who think I'm getting a little religious, let's take it to the knowledge degree in the 1 to 40. Who made the Holy Quran or Bible? Answer: the Holy Quran or Bible is made by the original peoples, who is Allah, the supreme being or black man of Asia. So if you saying you wrote the Holy Quran or Bible, then use that shit to your advantage. What's wrong with you using that shit to your advantage? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like. So yeah, and that, see, and that's deep though too though. Who made the Holy Quran or Bible? How long ago? Will you tell us why does Islam renew? That degree is so deep too, because that explains this right here too. How long ago? Why does Islam renew its history every 25,000 years? Answer: the Holy Quran or Bible is made by the original people, who is Allah, the supreme being or black man of Asia. The Holy Quran will expire in the year 25,000, which is 9,980 years from the date of this writing. The planet Earth is myself. Damn, I'm getting a little rusty on that degree. The planet Earth is approximately 25,000 miles in circumference. Is 24,896 miles, approximately 25 miles in circumference. So the wise man from the east makes his history or Quran to equal his home circumference a year to every mile. Thus, every time his history lasts 25,000 years, he renews it for another 25,000 years. And missed in there that the planet Earth is the home of Islam, and is approximately 25,000 miles in circumference. So the wise man from the east, the black man, makes his history on Quran to equal his home circumference, a year to every mile. Thus, every time his history lasts 25,000 years, he renews it for another 25,000 years. So your history of Quran is made in accordance to the circumference of the earth, and they're stating that every time he lives his, every time he lives his history for 25,000 years, he renews it for another 25,000 years. So they're saying that your history of Quran is renewed, in tune with the circumference of the earth. So, and that's another science of, thy will be done in heaven as it is on earth. You know what I'm saying? So you see how you can use all of that. You can even use the lessons. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to use the Bible, like, oh, I don't fuck with the Bible, use the lessons. You can even use the lessons, because the lessons are saying these. In fact, that would be even more iller if you use the lessons, because the lessons is breaking it down even a more, supreme way, as to where we can make it more relatable and stand with that energy that we know how to speak the language, mathematics. You know what I'm saying? But dwell it and intertwine it into the biblical language, to make it understood. So yeah, so that's what I say, man. You use this language and you rewrite it, which is you re-ratifying the fiat contract in which you're creating. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, it's by your own will. So now that's what they use from the Bible. Now let's say you're a Muslim, right? Or you're Islamic, and you're using the Quran. You want to use the Quran, the Holy Quran, Surah 2, Ayat 117 says he is the one who has originated the heavens and the earth, and when he wills to originate a thing, he only says to it, be, and it is. Be, and it becomes. So that's the same science of how what we were talking about, how the term fiat comes from the Latin word meaning let it be done. So in the Holy Quran it says when Allah creates something, he only says to it be, and it becomes. So be, and it is. Saying let it be done. You know what I mean? So through the word or the authoritative command of Allah, all things is created. All things is made. You know what I'm saying? So, and also in Holy Quran, Surah 6, Ayat 73, and he is the one, Allah, who created the heavens and the earth in accordance with his decreed celestial order based on truth. So now, when it said celestial order, his decreed celestial order based on truth, that took me to my you could say religious institution, more say I say my Islamic temple, which I've developed, called Lord Messiah Allah El Temple of the Sun, Planet, Moon excuse me, Temple of the Sun, Planets, Moons, and Stars. So, and under that's going to be my divine authority to issue all of everything that comes under that umbrella. You know what I'm saying? As well, with my constitution and everything as well. So all of that is going to be under the divine authority from my Islamic temple, which you know what I'm saying, which is like the physical base on earth as it is in heaven. You know what I'm saying? So called. So that's what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? As far as for me. But this is what y'all can, use this information and so forth to help you develop in your documentation and your whatever you're working on, whatever you're doing. Just understanding this whole science of fiat. So therefore in the Holy Quran, when it says that and he is the one, Allah, who created the heavens and the earth in accordance with his decree celestial. So now in my constitution and in my my how you say in the documentation I have for my Islamic temple, it's stated that Like I say, the temple of sun, planet, moon, and stars. So therefore, when I list my family, my genealogy, my family tree is broken down. Like my grandfather, he's known as great grandfather slash grand old sun. My grandmother is known as the grandmother slash grand old earth. You know what I mean? And all the men in my tree take on the family name of Allah El, and the women take on the family name of Alat, Earth. Because the name Allah comes from Alat, which is the moon goddess. And also the men are referred to as suns and stars, and the women are referred to as planets and moons. So that's how I incorporate this verse of me creating the heavens and earth in accordance with his decreed celestial order based on truth. So a celestial order, that's like that's a celestial order, an order based on the stars. You know what I'm saying? And heavenly bodies, such as planets, moons, suns and stars. So yeah. So that's how I incorporated that for myself, you know what I mean? But yeah, I know I've been building long enough. I've been going on for a little minute now. But however, this is the science, man. This is what it is, man. Fiat, man. Just that one, how we say in the nation, one word can change a nation. Yo, this one word just heightened my whole awareness. And I'm so thankful that, that he broke that down, because wow, what I'm saying? Now how I'm gonna incorporate the science. Man, listen, I'm about to go to a whole nother level with it, man. You know what I'm saying? Word is bond. So, but yeah, on that note, y'all, listen, I'm going to say peace, man. You know what I mean? I know I've been on here long enough and all of that. But yeah, share this video, go back and watch it again and again, because you're not going to get everything at once, just like I didn't get everything at once. But the more you watch, and then you go, you take a break, your mind take a rest, you go, you think about different things and then you come back to it, and then you see it from a whole nother perspective, and you just keep adding on and gaining with your knowledge and understanding. And on that note, I'm going to say peace.